All right, today we're going to rack them up and break down the official rules of 8-ball. We're going to clear up all that confusion between the real rules and those house rules that cause so many arguments. Let's get right into it.
So you think you've got this game down, huh? Sinking the 8-ball on the break is an automatic win, right? And if you scratch while sinking the 8, it's game over? Well, you might want to stick around because we're about to bust some of the biggest myths in the game.
Okay, before we start shattering any illusions, let's lock in the absolute basics. What's the actual point of the game? It sounds simple, but this one goal dictates every single strategic move you're going to make.
At its core, 8-ball is just a race. It's really that simple. One player is trying to pocket all the solid colored balls. That's numbers 1 through 7. The other player takes the stripes, which are 9 through 15. Your entire mission is to clear your group of 7 balls off the table, and only then can you take your shot at the 8-ball to win the game.
Every single game starts the same way, but man, getting this part right is absolutely critical. The rack and the break shot have super specific rules that, honestly, most people get wrong from the get-go. So let's break down the setup.
See, the official rules are all about precision. The 8-ball doesn't just go somewhere in the middle. Nope, it has to be in the dead center of that third row. The very front ball of the triangle sits right on the foot spot. And here's the part almost everyone misses. You need a solid in one of the back corners and a stripe in the other. It doesn't matter which is which, but that setup is mandatory for a fair break. So you've got this perfect rack. What makes the break shot legal? Well, you've got 2 ways to do it. The first one is easy. You pocket any object ball. Any one. Doesn't matter if it's a solid or a stripe. Or, if nothing drops, you have to drive at least 4 of those numbered balls into any cushion. So you don't actually have to sink a ball. You just got to hit them hard enough to get a good spread. Anything less than that is an illegal break.
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. This one rule probably causes more arguments in bars and pool halls than anything else. Is it an instant win? Is it an instant loss? Well, the official answer might actually surprise you.
Okay, forget everything you've heard. Sinking the 8-ball on a legal break is not a win, and it is not a loss. It's actually a choice for the person who broke. You can either have the 8-ball spotted, put back on its spot, and just keep your turn, or you can decide to have the whole rack set up again and just break all over. The bottom line is you're in control of the situation. You're not out of the game.
Okay, so the break is done, the balls are scattered all over the table. Now what happens? This next phase is maybe the most important, because this is where you and your opponent officially claim your group, solids or stripes.
Right after the break, the game enters a state called open table. Now this is a super important term. It means that nobody owns solids or stripes yet. Even if you sank a couple of solids on the break, it doesn't matter. The table is still open. And while it's open, you can do some cool stuff, like legally use a solid to pocket a stripe, or the other way around. It's a free-for-all for that one shot.
This brings us to the most important shot right after the break. If sinking a ball on the break doesn't lock in your group, then what does? How does it actually happen?
This is the whole thing, right here. Your group is only locked in when a player calls a specific ball into a specific pocket and then actually makes it legally. So if it's your turn, you say 7-ball, corner pocket, and you sink it, bam, solids are now yours for the rest of the game. What happened on the break has 0 to do with choosing your group.
All right, let's talk about what happens when things go wrong, because they will. In 8-ball, the penalty for making a mistake, for committing a foul, is huge, and it can completely flip the momentum of a game in an instant.
Okay, so here are the big fouls you'll see all the time. Sinking the cue ball, that's a scratch, we all know that one. Hitting your opponent's ball before you hit one of your own is a foul. And here's one people mess up constantly. If you don't pocket your ball, something has to hit a rail after the cue ball makes contact with your object ball. And, of course, knocking any ball clear off the table is a definite foul.
So what happens if you do any of those things? Well, the penalty for pretty much any foul in 8-ball is the same, and trust me, it's a big deal. Your opponent gets ball in hand.
And this is a total game changer. Ball in hand means your opponent can literally pick up the cue ball and place it anywhere they want on the entire table. This isn't like scratching on the break where you have to shoot from behind the line. No, this is a massive strategic advantage. You can set yourself up for an easy shot, or maybe even run the rest of the table.
So you've done the hard work. You've cleared all 7 of your balls. The table is looking empty, and only that beautiful 8-ball stands between you and victory. This is where the pressure is on, and the rules get absolutely ruthless.
The path to winning is narrow.
but it's crystal clear. Once your group is gone, you have to call the 8-ball and which pocket you're shooting it into. And then you have to make that shot legally, without committing any kind of foul. You do that, the game is yours. Simple as that.
But the ways you can lose are much, much broader. You lose on the spot if you sink the 8-ball too early, like when you still have other balls on the table. You lose if you commit any foul while pocketing the 8. Even something as simple as a scratch. Pocket the 8-ball in the wrong pocket, that's a loss. Knock it off the table, you guessed it, you lose. That last shot is truly all or nothing.
You know, to really get a feel for 8-ball, it helps to see it in context. So let's do a quick comparison to that other super popular game you'll always see being played, 9-ball.
Looking at them side by side, you can see they're two totally different animals. 8-ball is all about claiming your territory, your group, and methodically, defensively clearing a path to victory. 9-ball, on the other hand, is a rotational game. You always have to hit the lowest numbered ball on the table first. The goal is just to sink the 9-ball, and that can happen at any time, which makes the whole thing faster, more aggressive, and way more opportunistic.
So there you have it, the real rules, from the rack to that final heart-pounding shot on the 8-ball. And look, knowing these rules isn't just about winning arguments. It unlocks a whole new level of strategy. It should make you stop and ask yourself, when you play, is your strategy just about trying not to foul, or are you actively using these rules to build a real plan to win?